Hello, welcome back to the Culture Cave. We're going through Sisyphus episode by episode, and I'm here with my friend Emmett.
Hello, Anthony. I am your friend Emmett from the future.
He is. He's from the future.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so we have to record this again because I accidentally left my speakers on, and Emmett had a fantastic, great I was going to say half an hour. It wasn't half an hour long. 30 second long joke. It was half an hour long. We did a whole half an hour thing. No,
it was far too long of a bit. There was too much going on in it. There was characters, there was scene changes. It was a very complicated joke.
There was a load of unnecessary flashbacks like this. It's just, it was just full of them. It was full of them. But we're here again anyway, and that will just have to be lost to time. That fantastic Emmett bit. But thank you very much for joining us. We are going to be here every Wednesday going through Sisyphus episode by episode. If you haven't given it a go yet, go and check it out. Why are you watching this video? Also, it's very similar to sort of other things we do on the channel, sci-fi, time travel, all sorts of stuff going on in the show. So check it out. Give the video a like and subscribe. That would be great. Right, Emmett, I believe last time we recorded the beginning of this video before I realized my speakers were on, we started at what?
Oh, we started at how do I forget things that only happened 30 seconds ago? I maybe need to talk to a doctor.
I'll put you on the spot. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let's start somewhere else then. Let's make it fresh for ourselves. Okay.
Yes.
Let's start on the case. So,
yes,
Hante Sewell
suitcase
opens up the suitcase, the one he wasn't supposed to open. That Hay was trying to make him stop him opening. He opened up the suitcase, and inside were his brother's possessions, his brother's camera. And we'll just jump forward to there, I think, a roll of film.
Yes, exactly. Yes, because obviously a recurring thing with his brother is the fact that he carries around this camera, and it was a photographer. So Hante Sewell eventually opens up the camera and discovers that there is a used roll of film within the camera, which indicates that it might give him some clues to what happened to his brother. So obviously. This was a bit that actually made me sort of chuckle, and I don't know if it made you chuckle. But the fact that he turns his bathroom into a dark room, I'm like, this man's super rich. He can't rent out a dark room for 20 minutes,
Yeah, well, I don't know how long it takes.
I'll convert my bathroom into a dark room.
He just had all the stuff too. He just had all the stuff.
Yeah, it's is he what else is he prepared for? Is he just gonna keep changing his very lovely apartment? I understand why they want to keep shooting in there. It's a nice looking place to fit different situations. Eventually his bodyguard's gonna get shot, and he's gonna turn his bathroom into a surgical lab to start treating them. But yeah, he starts fixing the photos, and we start getting little reveals, little teases of stuff that he has seen.
Yeah, so there was a photo showing him at a conference in 2 days' time. I think then obviously built in that these are from the future, and then the idea was that the next picture he had was his wedding day. Which seems to me that he is going to get married to Hay. That's what it seems to me. Now, this is a question: is the Hay that we're following already been married to him or not?
Oh, I think this is pre her getting married to. I think because we do. Once he sees the photo, we see Hay appear to have some sort of vision of the future from their wedding day, which in typical Kill Bill's fashion does not go well.
You say vision. It could also be just her being haunted by it, a dream of it, because it's already happened.
Could be. I had read it as a vision of the future because she seemed kind of confused by the whole situation as well. But that might have been me reading into it too much. But they I don't know about Korea, but usually during the if anyone objects part, we don't shoot anybody.
Yeah.
No one pulls a 9mm out and guns down the bride at the objections part, but that seems to be what happened. And also, I'm not sure if it's hard to say because obviously we don't we don't see the full scene, but we're not sure what her fate is after being shot. So that's another big sort of question up in the air.
I'm really interested to see whether that is the past, whether that's the future. Well, it's obviously the future, but in terms of her timeline, I'm really interested to see whether that's in her past or in her future. Because the character we met in the first episode, it didn't really seem to me like she seems almost like she's not quite human. Like, even if she is human, but she seems almost like she's like sort of programmed in a way that she has a task that she's going to do. Whereas now revealing that she's been married or is going to get married, it makes her a lot more human to me than maybe I was initially viewing her as sort of like a Leeloo Dallas from like The Fifth Element, like, you know, sort of not really connected to the world fully yet. But actually, it seems
or a Terminator.
Yeah, or like like a Terminator. Yeah. So that, but it seems actually that's not right at all. It's just that she was playing her cards very close to her chest the first episode.
Yeah.
There is something going on though as well with being shot.
Yes.
So later on, Hante Sul gets shot in the head. Right.
Yeah.
We're skipping an awful lot of stuff here, but we're going to go back to it. But he gets shot in the head because we just talked about her getting shot. He gets shot in the head, and then he wakes up in his bed.
Yeah, I am very curious about that. I do not know what that is implying. Was it like was he shot by some sort of stun weapon that just looks like a gun, or like they have to? If they don't come back to that, that's going to bug me forever. Or like I don't know, like. Is Hante Sul like hallucinating that bit, or like what's going on there?
Is he hallucinating everything? Because we know he's taking medicine because he's hallucinating his brother, or is he hallucinating his brother? You know, I don't think his brother was playing with him.
Yeah, because we found out his brother may or may not be dead.
There's a big question, because obviously if the pictures of that camera have been taken pictures and then being sent back in time, it would imply that because those pictures have been taken in the future, that his brother is still alive taking pictures.
Yeah.
It would very much imply that.
He might see his brother. Yeah, he might see his brother at that conference. He might,
And we know that the DNA from the ashes is not a match.
Yeah. Which leads to a bit of a funny scene where his ex-girlfriend and his business partner come in, and he figures out that they're dating.
Yeah.
And like to throw them off the scent of what he's doing. Like he's like, oh, it's a paternity test.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, you're lucky, it's 99% not a match,
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was a funny little scene, and their faces whenever he just said he used dating. It was actually quite well acted. Most of the little drama scenes or the little comedy scenes in this are very overacted. Seems the style of the show, but I'm sort of getting into it now. I'm getting into that style now.
A lot of exaggerated, like sort of facial expressions and stuff like that. But I think that's like just like a different cultural thing,
Yeah. No, I'm getting into it now, definitely. So there's also a lot of action in this episode.
So much action.
First thing is whenever she wakes up, Hay wakes up from having that dream or vision or whatever it was of her wedding. She wakes up and then the control bureau is after her because they've been put on to where she is from the boss of the blonde haired fellow that she's staying with, who I'm not quite sure of his name yet either. I haven't remembered his name. But
unfortunately, we're probably not going to have to know his name at this point. The Control Bureau have taken care of that issue for us.
I really did enjoy though, Hay going through like the lottery ticket and putting the next number on to get him to do what she wanted. I thought that was a really interesting, funny touch.
It was a good sort of back and forth between the two of them, and it was a nice sort of build up between their sort of relationship. And as we see at the end of the episode, what happens with that,
I enjoyed that. And then the huge action scene comes where Hay literally kicks the crap out of a lot of people.
Yeah, this is the part where I joked earlier about her being a Terminator, but this is the part where it's like she might actually be a bloody cyborg because she is like super strong, so fast. And I'm not like saying that in the complaining way. I was just like, kick their asses, smash him through a cupboard. Do it, girl. Like, I loved it. It was so cool. And I love the way that it was shot, like low-key, like shaky cam, a lot of like movement and stuff like that, but like you're getting to follow the action. Oh, it was very, very, very nicely done. And like, Hay in her new leather jacket that she's gotten off her best friend. Looking cool and
she's looking ready to kick some ass. But
she's looking killer,
that was a great scene. And I also like the way that it was shot. I thought it was really dynamic, really like fast-paced action. I also liked there was like whenever they did the cuts, like it wasn't all one take, but they were kind of making it look like it was. When they did the cuts, most of them were pretty seamless to me, and they didn't take me out of it. I thought it was really well done. It was again very over the top, very Korean cinema fight scene. Sort of reminded me a little, even though they did have the cuts in there, it sort of reminded me a little bit of Old Boy, where they're fighting up the corridor. So I just love that sort of just, let's just give us 3 or 4 minutes of just like someone kicking people's ass, and like that is real reminiscent of Korean cinema to me. But I really, really liked it. The only action. Yes. That wasn't the only action. The other action was Han Tae-sul surviving an explosion.
He's got the protective power of being the protagonist.
Yeah, he's got a plane crash in episode 1, an explosion in episode 2. Where is this man gonna go?
Because again, I genuinely wonder if this is something that they're going to pull like later on in the show, where because obviously they do the thing with the gun. I would be very interested, like where they seem to shoot him in the head. I am wondering if, because of the title of the show, Sisyphus, the idea of like that futility.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the show is going to go the angle of the future cannot be changed, like the future is always sealed. Mm-hmm. So like, because Han Tae-sul is not predestined to die at this moment, he will always somehow survive any sort of potentially fatal situation that he's put into. So like, I'm curious to see
like a deterministic view.
Yeah, like it would be very interesting. Like, I don't know if they're gonna do it this way. I'd be very curious if they did. But like the fact that he survives the plane crash, the fact that he survives the explosion, and maybe that's what they'll reveal about the gunshot. Like when they go to shoot him, like it because he's not destined to die at that moment. Like it just sort of like does not kill him. Like somehow, like it just knocks him out. So I'm curious about that. It would be very interesting if they were to pull that move and tie it into the idea of like the futility of Sisyphus, like of like, hey, coming back in time to try and change the past, when unfortunately, like the past cannot be changed. It'd be very interesting.
Yeah. Like no matter what they do, it won't change, and that actually would play into the idea of Sisyphus as well, because obviously pushing the boulder up the hill and rolls back down again. So you keep trying to change and it doesn't. Okay, so the Control Bureau. They're hot on the tail of our protagonists, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit before we get into the full-blown Control Bureau stuff. I wanted to talk a little bit about the man on the phone at the start. Whenever Han Tae-sul gets the briefcase, opens it up, there's a flip phone in there. I'll just say modern day filmmakers love a flip phone. There's something about films and like directors are like, well, they need a mobile. Well, what are we going to use? Just get a flip phone. They look the coolest. It's always a flip phone. So flip phone, he's on the phone to this guy, and the guy's like questioning him, finds out that he's actually not his brother. Question to you. This guy doesn't seem to be affiliated with the Control Bureau.
Yeah, no, he seems
who
to
is
be. Yeah, that's a very good question. There seems to be some sort of, because obviously his Han Tae-sul's brother was against the Control Bureau.
Yeah.
So my assumption would be that he had found other people who are also against the Control Bureau, who are like trying to work against them, because the Control Bureau seemed to be very much like a sort of shady government operation that are trying to keep things under control. So I feel like he is going to have some sort of, he's our way into, I think, a larger conspiracy of people working against the Control Bureau, and perhaps maybe he's connected to the people in the future who come back in time to try and change the past. I'm curious about him. Again, we have so
imagine he is, wouldn't you? You would imagine he is, because he's phoning making a call to the phone in the briefcase of the fellow who's just come back from the future. We're assuming. So I would assume he maybe is like the orchestrator, or maybe he's like the contact in this time for those people or something.
Yeah, like he's like an operator, so to speak, like to connect them to where they need to go. And he catches Han Tae-sul out by asking him about a number that should be on his arm if he is his brother. And he doesn't have that. I mean, he hangs up the phone and disconnects the number and such.
If I was Han Tae-sul, I would have just, give it a go and gave my date of birth. Because you know how his date of birth is his password for everything?
Yes, of course. Yes, that is such a good point. It is honestly probably, you're right, it probably is his birthday.
Maybe. If they were allowed to choose their own numbers, that's what he would have chosen,
Yeah.
So maybe I would have done that, but yeah. So I'm interested to see where that goes. There was a little bit. Eventually, Han Tae-sul does get caught by the Control Bureau, and he's sort of interrogated a bit.
Despite his Home Alone antics with the bomb that he uses to their old little shed that they
Oh, I
lived
will
in.
say, just before we leave that old little shed, I thought it was funny when in the flashback of like him working on his stuff, which I still don't really know what his company does.
Yeah, vague time stuff, you know.
But did you notice, like, red means it's not working. Blue
means
we did it. Like,
I love like universal.
I love a film which is or TV show which just completely goes into like whether or not this is working is 100% based on the light that it shows on the machine.
It's film shorthand, obviously, to be like, we need to clue the audience in immediately of this bad, this good.
Yeah.
But it's like film shorthand can be so funny sometimes, where it's like, the red means bad, blue means good. This person plays chess, they are smart.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's
film shorthand. It's so useful, obviously, for setting up things quickly through like images and stuff. But it also, like, when you like think about it for a while, it just makes everything seem a little bit weirder.
Yeah. It's funny. Okay, so the Control Bureau has got him after he escapes. He escapes through the. Well, he actually tries to escape through the explosion. Doesn't really work in the end. He does get caught anyway, and they interrogate him.
Yes, they bring him to the mysterious Control Bureau place with his bodyguard. Well, his bodyguard gets released earlier. I genuinely thought the bodyguard was dead for a second when he like slumped over in the car, but no, they just knocked him out.
No one dies in this show apparently, though. So
yeah, everyone's invulnerable. Maybe again, if the show was smart enough, maybe that will turn out to be a plot point. We'll find out. We see obviously that he is brought forward and they're interrogating him, but Han Tae-sul, being that sort of maverick, sort of Tony Stark type guy that he is, just won't like give them any information, and then they start threatening him with stuff, and that's possibly where one of my main little niggles from the episode comes up. Because one of the first things that they threaten them with is the idea that they'll set up a Me Too revelation about Han Tae-sul. That's the first thing that they threaten. And big misstep, I think, on Sisyphus's part on that front. I don't think you should use something as serious and as, important to the real world as Me Too for, just like a cheap drama thing to like, make it seem
it's also implying that that there are people who are just coming out falsely against people to spite them, rather than it being real.
Yeah, which is not the case at all. Believe women on that front. That's one thing I'll say, obviously. But like it does sort of frame a Me Too accusation in the sense of like, this could ruin a powerful and successful man, where like they get Me Too'd, and I'm like, don't like that. Don't agree with that as a choice. You have like the Control Bureau that seemed to be this very omnipresent and very powerful organization. I feel like you could have done like more stuff instead of like dropping a Me Too situation, where they could like, frame him for a lot of other things. Yeah, it was one of the things that didn't sit right from me from a personal standpoint.
It just feels a little bit. It feels a little bit fresh, to be honest with you. Like this has happened. Obviously, a number of people came out a few years ago, but it's still, the idea that someone has been using their power to abuse women, or even men, like in certain cases, using their power to abuse. It's sort of something that I didn't appreciate it being made light of either at this point in time.
I also think it's a bit of a cultural thing, because I know that Me Too didn't necessarily take off, in as many countries as like we have a very like Western view of the world, as in like that's where we're sort of from in the global landscape, so that's where we've seen it. But like I know it struggled in other areas to really take off just due to like some societal things, and maybe maybe that's a situation in Korea. Don't know necessarily, but it definitely didn't sit right, and it sort of interrupted the scene for me. But like the rest of the interrogation is handled pretty interestingly. Like, there's a lot of hints dropped about like the stuff that they can do, and the fact that they are maybe aware of Hante Sul's brother as well, because they're like, oh, everyone comes in real strong and like real unwilling to break, even your brother. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
ooh, it's like hinting towards the fact that they maybe had something to do with his brother's disappearance, and
Yep.
a lot of interesting stuff there. So just don't bring up Me Too. So like this is my editor's notes for episode 2 of Sisyphus. If you could get in your time machine and go back and change it, take out the Me Too reference, not a good reference. Remove that, scrub that out, and focus more on the ominous stuff with his brother. That's the good bit of the interrogation, you know?
I mean, it would be different if we were sitting here watching like a dramatic reenactment of something or other, and it was like
Yeah,
really this serious thing. It was taking taking the subject very seriously. But in this, it's
yeah,
literally what he's basically literally done. Like, I'm not going to say the word, I'll use the word "are" for the word, right?
mm,
He's basically just said, "We're going to tell people that you are people." It's like,
yeah,
hang on, what this
yeah,
this is this show is not meant to be like R rated. Like, this is, maybe it is. I don't know, but it seemed to me like that's a bit of a
yeah.
that's a bit over the top for this,
Oh, OTT. We'll say
Yeah.
that for definite.
Right. Okay.
OTT.
There we go. We'll end on that note. I think, like, I'm sure people are going to be, one or two people are going to be thinking, like, what are we doing? Like, why are we talking about this when we're talking about Sisyphus? My answer to that always is, if the subject is there, we need to talk about it. So thank you very much
Exactly.
for watching, guys. I'm looking forward to next episode. What I want to find out next episode, I want to find out who the guy on the phone was. I'd love to see Hante Sul maybe get involved with him a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'd maybe like to also see Hay and Hante Sul get more, their storylines start to cross over. Maybe it's a bit
Yeah.
too early for that to happen fully yet, but I would like to see that start
Yeah.
happening.
We seen near at the end that they almost had, like,
Yeah.
this is a thing that I've seen a lot of Japanese cinema, but like they're separated by a train that's like moving between the two of them.
Yeah.
Where like they almost see each other, but then the train passes and one of them vanishes. I think it was Hante Sul was gone, and Hay missed them, and it
Yeah.
was like the almost crossing. Yeah. Ending for fun.
Yeah.
In the style of Sisyphus itself, we'll not take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so my electricity went out. It's Easter Monday today. I thought it probably wasn't going to do that, but there we go. Didn't think we'd be ending the episode like this, Emmett, but we are.
Yeah, in the spirit of giving, your electricity decided to give
Yeah.
and completely conk out on you.
I
But
actually,
luckily,
yeah.
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't know if like electricity going out is something that is all over the world. Like, in the UK and Ireland anyway, we have like top up things, so we can top it up
Yeah,
with money. Not
meager.
everyone has that. Some people just get a bill, but so we have to top it up. So I had to go on my phone and order more internet there to top it up.
Yeah,
Luckily, we didn't lose the recording. I was recording in 2 places to back it up, and one of those backups has come true. So we will be okay in terms of getting the video up. I was really shitting myself for a minute there, though.
yeah. It was very funny from my end. I'm not sure if that will come through on the Zoom call at all, but just middle of Anthony's sort of like wrap up, he just like froze mid frame, and like it all went black, and I'm like, I'm alone. I don't know if I'm still being recorded, so I will sit here for a while.
Yeah. I don't think you were being recorded, but it was good that you did that, though. Well, there we
Yeah.
go. That's it. That's the end of this episode of Sisyphus. I'm looking forward to episode 3. Hopefully, we won't have the same issue next week.
Maybe it was the control bureau. Maybe you and I
Yeah.
were just about to crack something, and they're like, "Cut his power, cut his power."
Yeah, we're
And
actually
then,
onto it. We're onto them now.
we know what they're up to.
Yeah. Well, guys, thanks very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video, and thank you very much, Emmett, for joining me again. We'll be back next week for more Sisyphus.